I do believe we are live again. So I'll say indeed again. And greetings unto you, my friend. So nice having you here another time. We talked in the previous stream quite a bit about this thing we call shame. We talked about how it manifests as feelings of worthiness, worthlessness, feelings of powerlessness, usually arising, at least in my experience, with pride. When you have pride in your own abilities or in your own intelligence or in your own beauty or etc., etc., and then that gets challenged. You age, you forget something, you say something silly, and then there is a deep sense of shame that arises in that experience almost immediately. We talked about how there is this narrative that is actively happening, right? That there is ultimately this story you are telling yourself. And if you are telling yourself the story of shame, you ought not to, you know, like you're worth more than that. Just had to restart stream to see if it's gonna be a little bit more clear. I don't know if it is, but this is. Is it better if I do it like this? Let's see. It's not bad. I do like the face. Ah, shame. Shame. What a shame, they say. What a shame. Thinking about it almost being used in this, like relieving themselves of any blame. They just say, what a shame. Oh, yeah. They died of cancer because they couldn't afford treatment. What a shame. Can you believe that? I find a hard time to. It is a shame, though, that stuff like that is happening. How has shame shaped our society? There was a line there that really took me aback for a moment, and it was about conformity. I don't particularly enjoy the idea of conforming. Doesn't really suit me. And I wonder how much of my unwillingness to experience shame before in my life is in part because of that. My mind is tweaking a little bit. I'm sorry. Oh, that's why. Probably. I'm trying to figure out whether or not the quality difference I'm seeing is because of my playback, i.e., I'm downloading it at a lower resolution and then it looks bad, or if it's bad resolution because of my upload, right? And sometimes doing something like this would like fix it if it was broken. Yeah, like that. Exactly like that. As such, Exhibit A. Exhibit A. I don't understand why it's like this. You would think that these sort of kinks have been ironed out, but good thing I can exit and hey, that's so much better. Yeah, it's almost like, you put on your glasses. You're Peter Park and you just got bit by a spider and you take your glasses off. And you can suddenly see there are now strangers showing up to to my residence. I'll say it's not my house, but it is my residence. Hey, Max. Maxim. The landlord lady is outside. Yeah. It's gonna be. I hope they don't plan on walking over me. Surely they won't. Surely. I am very much out of the way. My room is less shameful than it could have been. I did put some things away, knowing that there will be people showing up. 5 people. 5 people will be showing up to come and look at this place. And I just kind of, like, shamelessly moved my stuff a little bit. Hey, that's the landlord lady. Uh, Not the landlord lady. This is the estate agent. Is that what you call them? I don't know what you call them. Realtor? She's basically the lady that answers the phone when people see the online advertisement and want to see the place. They reach her. Ask her when you can expect your shit to be returned. If she could give me an answer, I would. Yes, ma'am. Do ret know when can expect my shit return. When can? And then she tells me, and then I get everything back in no time. That would be so fun. I would appreciate that greatly. Real estate agent in charge of the rental listing. Ask her how often these tenants split after 1 year. Literally 1 year on the year, every year. I'm sure. I'll ask her. Part of me wants to be like all agent of chaosy and ask her while she has tenants looking at the place. It's like, so, uh, what's your average lease duration? And why don't people stay longer than their original lease contract stated? Why? Do tell. Do tell why. I think sometimes they'll try and sue you if you leave before your contract is over. But we're willing to do that if they want to go through with it. Because goodness, we are done. We've had enough. Yeah, these rocks look so good right now. Right, these are some good looking rocks. I like them. I like them rocks. Part of me wonders. Remember how we used to have these almost like running jokes during the ARPAN days of people asking me, "Am I using a green screen?" I don't think it's a bad idea anymore. Hey, Kristen is here with us. So nice having you. Bless you, friend. Why don't people volunteer to live here longer? Rental lady. Yeah. This place looks great. This place looks so nice. To me, the fact that they're making the rent more expensive, that it's gonna be an extra $600. The people that signed the lease for next year are gonna have to pay an extra 600 more dollars. All right, that's not the actual rent. Just I have a piece of wood in my skin, and it's letting me know. I like how my camera quality starts falling apart as I start experiencing pain. Checks out. It's kind of what it's like. Is it still happening? What? What? Suddenly, I'm just as lost as you are, Kristen. Shameless. Feeling a little bit shameless. Just a little bit. What do I have to be ashamed about? Hmm? Nothing. Yeah, I'm lost. Good. Good. Hi, lost. I'm out. Shame. I think shame played a bigger role in my life than I can even fathom. Like, the more I think about it, the more I realize, goodness, there's been a lot of shame in my life. And weirdly enough, most of it I feel is undeserved. You guys are in my car right now. I'll try not to kill us. Safe travels, Mojo. Eyes on the road. We are right here in your ears, loving you as well. Kristen says thank you for your safe travels. I'm here, sun emoji, body earth, moon, you, and invisible stars. Walks towards a big stick. You do have a cryptic way of speaking, Hoopy. Right? I have come to understand that that's how you talk, but it does challenge me. Makes me think. Maybe that's how you want. Shame. Mary Jane is one of those things that was very much attached to shame for the longest time in my life. Especially when it wasn't legal yet. I got bullied, even. I got assaulted, is the real terminology, by a bunch of rugby players. Our equivalent of a bunch of football players. Like straight knit, they only drink and work out kind of rugby players. And they in so many words, I was doing homework. My school bag was strapped to the back of my chair, and then these three guys come behind me and then pull my chair all the way back, so the chair falls onto its back. The bag definitely did create like a little bit of a cushion, I guess, and then I hit like the back of my head against the ground, and then these oaks are like over me, you know, threatening me, you know, telling me that I we don't smoke weed in this hostel, kind of terminology. And guess what? That didn't generate shame, none whatsoever. I don't stop smoking weed. Dangerous. All right. Fit trajectory started, and maybe there was say some shame involved, but it was a lot more pride in that moment. I felt ashamed, if anything, that I could experience such an experience. I was like, this is not an experience that I'm allowed to have. I can never be in that position again as a narrative. Yossi, I'm rebooting. I think I'm gonna get better bitrate. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, perfect. So, got Super Bow jacket. Got accused by that same guy who bullied me that I started using steroids. That was like the like magnum opus. I never beat him up, you know. Sure, I did think about it. We fantasize, but that never happened. But that moment of him accusing me of, yeah, you're just a steroid user now, and I was like, oh, bro, you you mean it? You think that? uh, being a high schooler was such a trip. I do not miss it. Right, I talk to people sometimes, and the conversation of school comes up. I'm in the group of people that really did not enjoy school, but the most of the people that I meet did. It's just so surreal to me. Well, now, Mojo, let's wait until the rest of the group weighs in. I wouldn't mind. Jeez. Little bit. Meep meep. Love you, beautiful humans. Love you, beautiful show. It's nice having you here, too. Only Cheech and Chong, right, could produce that much smoke and still run, Chauvin. Yeah, that is a smoke cloud the size of that car. It's quite a big one. It is November, so maybe there could be clouds that size. It's already the 4th of November. What, like, where is the time going? Forward, apparently. It's always now. It's always now. But the now that it is for me is 5 p.m. Yeah, 5 p.m. The now that it is for you is closer to 5 a.m. if you're in California. It's not exactly right, but you get what I'm saying. It is. It is. It is actually. Yeah. Technically speaking, it is closer to 5 a.m. We, in that way, exist in different states of the world, right? Because there is a collective neurological engine, right? Where we find ourselves in our daylight time does affect our hormones and change the way we feel about what's going on and what we are willing to tolerate, what we are willing to accept into our personal bubble. Thinking, thinking about things, thinking about the things we were thinking about, and then thinking about the thinking things. To think more. I think right now I want to almost employ a certain state of shame. I have been eating a lot more junk food. A lot more junk food recently. And I feel ashamed, but not as much as I used to. And I don't know if that's a good thing. In fact, I think it literally is a bad thing, both financially speaking and for my personal well being. 7 a.m. in Cali with the new daylight savings. True. I got back in bed after yoga. Now it's time to get back up. Coffee and feeding the kitties. I'm happy that I got to talk to you a little bit. Remind you that you ought not feel ashamed for simply being. That shame really is such a silly construct. Specifically, worthlessness and powerlessness. Right? You have so much power over this immediate environment, right? The fact that you can get up, make yourself a coffee, and feed your cats. That's power, right? If you don't practice that power, your cats will scream at you. And you have the power to make yourself a coffee, which is also a blessing in and of itself. And you can manipulate your environment in that way. And then the worth you have. I would like a coffee. I would say me too, and I do, but I shouldn't because it's 5 p.m. And if I drink coffee now, it wouldn't bode well for me or my sleep. Yes, having legs should sink them down deeper. I'm back in my calorie restriction. I was shamefully eating too much like Jabba the Hutt for eating poorly and not taking care of myself. I'm happy that you're taking good care of yourself, Choivi. All right. Like, I think maybe that's one of the things that we can really lean into with today's stream topic as well, is that there is a lot of shame to be felt in this experience ultimately. There's a lot of us that do feel ashamed about many things. But when I hear stuff like that, right, the fact that you have and are taking care of yourself, that there is this certain level of awareness that arises in you, reminding you that you don't want to feel the shame that is associated with almost like leaning into powerlessness, not valuing yourself, that worthlessness, motivation to quit the diet, the exercise, right? There's so many things, and almost like the abandonment of this form that you're in that lends itself to the experience of shame. And when I hear stories like yours, Joyviv, it does the opposite for me, right? It brings me this pride, technically. More so hope, but pride definitely as well, right? Like, I'm so proud of you. So proud. Like, it makes me like, oh, fuck yeah. My friend's exercising, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. You're so loved, dear friend. Oh, I appreciate you for sharing these stories. Now, can I see a smile? Not the smile you were looking for. I don't know how to smile if you're asking me. Smile on demand, Mel. Say cheese. Uh, bro, this is too much. Why would you do this? Joy Vive. That's my first problem with diets. They reinforce that A, how you eat needs to change, and two, that you cannot trust yourself outside the bounds. Damn, most people can't. I am amongst them. Best when I that is technically what a diet is. A diet doesn't have to be any more than that. It's just knowing what you're eating. That's what dieting is. And that is helpful. It is helpful. And it's the number one metric. You can exercise as much as you want to. If you don't know what you're eating, you'll you'll not gain any progress if that is what you're looking for. Problem two feeds into problem A, and people very often never get anywhere. Some people never get anywhere. I lost now in comparison. At that point, I lost 60 pounds. I weighed 200 and something pounds. Let me see the exact number. 103 kilograms. Dag, lekker dag. I'm putting it in my converter. Yes. At the age of 16, I was a 227-pound boyki. Maybe I can share some of my. There you go. Some of my battle scars. You see those? Those are stretch marks from having too much of myself. Right? Yeah, you can see those. 227 pounds at 16. And I had to, for me, it was the diet was keto. So I knew I'm now regulating what I'm putting in my body to fasten a lot easier. track about what it is I'm putting in my body. Put sugar in even without knowing over and over again. And it spikes your insulin and it spikes your inflammation and it's just not good for you. So just not doing that made me lose 60 pounds. All right. It's a big deal. Literally changed my life. And I did keep most of the weight off. I've never been even close. I've never been even close to, no, I almost lied. Just there, just there was like, it's like this close to almost a lie. I wanted to say I haven't even been close to 90 kilograms. I've been back up to like 88, 89, which is 194 pounds to 196. But I've never went over 200 pounds again. Yes, that I can say confidently. So technically did keep that weight off. And it has been a very big like source of pride in me. I was not happy. I was very shameful. I could not be seen without a shirt on. Right? I would be uncomfortable sitting on a chair if there wasn't pillows for me to hold onto and keep over my belly. Right? So much shame. So much shame. And I was like, bro, I can keep feeling all of this shame about this thing that is caused, or I can do something about it. And that was like a first step in power for me, right? And a first step in making myself feel like I'm something as well, in a way as well, because I treated myself as such. I felt, growing stronger. I felt worth something. And that's, something that's very valuable. And it does, like, diet is just a small little sliver of that whole experience. None of us have been taught how to eat, and all of us have access to literally dangerous foods, right? If you had to think about things as carcinogenic and inflammatory, as in cancer inducing, as dangerous, like alcohol is, like smoking cigarettes is, the foods we have access to are as well, right? And we are not well equipped. يلتمل تاني. Oh, okay, تاني إسرع. لكن ضعف تاني. She's done. There was gonna be more people. Hmm. Problem to melt is ask for smile. Summons troll face instead. Yes. Of course. I put on some pants and a sweater yesterday to do some chores around the house. And the sweater was an old small one that now fit perfectly, and the pants are like wearing a parachute. I was proud. I'm proud of you too, Joy V. Hooray. Yeah, that perfect fit sweater makes me happy too. Just in time for your winter as well. That's so nice. Mel, I see that you lost all that weight, but it left you with an ongoing sense of shame regarding your eating habits, didn't it? You succeeded in craving your body to what you want it to be, into carving your body what you want it to be, but perhaps at the risk of your mental health. It is unfortunately one of those dualistic things, Sam, right? Because my mental health, your mental health, all of our mental health, not only is attached to the sense of shame we might harbor towards our bodies, but also literally to our bodies. I.e., if you are physically fit, actually physically fit, and you are, in a healthy range for your physiology, you feel better. All right, I feel better. It's not a matter of shame. It's not a matter of perspective. It's not a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of convincing myself. It's just a matter of I I am more fit than I've been, and it feels a certain way. It's like it's like imagine you were congested, right? Like you had a congested nose, and it's bad, and you're like stuffy, and you're like you're feeling that, and then suddenly they're open and you can suddenly breathe well. That is what taking care of yourself is like, right? And that's why there is a certain eating thing alongside that. Because when I start not taking care of myself, Sam, I feel it. It's not just a matter of mental shame, something I generate towards myself when I look in the mirror. It is a baseline, iterative, moment by moment state kind of thing. And it's very hard for me to ignore. And then you can. And weirdly enough, the way to ignore it is to make the problem harder, right? To eat more, to exercise less. It's a juxtaposition in that way. I too lost some weight, and with that I feel so much better. Sun King, huzzah! Celebrating you too. That's awesome. It's nice seeing you on the horizontal one. Look, extra, all of this extra rock face available to us now. My calorie restriction, says Joy Vive, is just lean meats and veggies. I'm lucky that I like veggies. It's mostly just me not ordering out and eating junk, right, Joy Vive? For me too. When I go from living in a way that I don't really, living in a way that I feel I should be ashamed of, as in eating excessive amounts of sugar, drinking a lot of milk, right? Like, and a lot for me is having 4 or 5 teas in a day, and then there's 2 sugars in every tea, and there's a bit of milk in every single one of those teas. So that's literally me introducing like a baseline of sugar, lactose, right? All of these things that do potentially produce some inflammation, and everything in moderation can be fine. But doing it over and over and over to myself, and then I feel it, and I'm like, I should not be doing this, right? And then if I continue, that's when the shame kicks in. So shame is almost like the last resort for me, right? That's the way I see it, at least. I like the way horizontal is great. Horizontal is the way it's supposed to be, but horizontal doesn't get the views these days. They say, they is me. I've just been experimenting the last 3 days. Yeah, last 4 days. Today was a slower day, it seems. I wonder if the daylight savings has something to do with it. The fact that it's Monday probably has a lot to do with it now, I'm considering. I take CBD for social anxiety. What do I do for social anxiety? I do smoke marijuana, but I think I need to probably get myself a good source of CBD bud so that I can smoke that instead, because I will almost like self medicate with the bud that I have in a social situation if I feel myself almost in a state of tension. And then sometimes my bud will be too strong in a certain vector, and it ends up doing the opposite of what I wanted to do. I do feel you on that, Mala. hmm I can technically eat anything I want, but your calories go a lot farther with a pork chop and mashed potatoes rather than cake. And there's still room for cake. It's just that has to be planned for. Yeah. And it makes it in a way as well, you know, I think at least, something a little bit more. I want to use the word ritualistic because it gives it a little bit more some substance, right? It is a kind of ritual, a day of indulgence. I have rebranded a cheat day in my mind as a day of indulgence because it is, again, shame. There is shame in cheating on whatever, apparently, right? Cheating means to be unfaithful to something else, right? You're not being unfaithful to something else. You are being faithful to the fact that you can indulge in things as well. That there is an infinity here around us. Thinking about Mary Jane in that way, that's been like one of the biggest things for me. Is the fact that there are these flowers growing on planet Earth. And we human beings have had a relationship with them for thousands of years. It is kind of bonkers. I think this might be a hot take, but marijuana definitely does help me combat that experience of shame. Right? And that's why people will use it as well to their own detriment, too, unfortunately. Zoom, 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 zoom. Yes, I see that it works for you, but you called yourself Jabba the Hutt earlier. That you felt like Jabba the Hutt. Feeling, yeah, too much like Jabba the Hutt for eating poorly. A diet perspective directly leads people to their eating habits as something to be ashamed of. It's not a matter of shame. It's a matter of knowing, right? That you, again, as Joy Vive said, you can eat burgers and chips and cake as your main sources of calories every day, as long as you do so in moderation. If you eat 5 burgers and a whole cake every day, that is not good for you, right? And maybe that's what you love to do, and there shouldn't be a sense of shame. Like you should be ashamed for loving burgers and cake. It's not about that. It's just about, yeah, like you can love burgers and cake for longer if you don't eat so much of it. Right? And maybe that trade-off is not one you want to make. Maybe you're like, no, I want 5 burgers and whole cake every day. And maybe you do the math in your own brain where you're like only eating 2 burgers and 1 slice cake. uh, I'll only eat X amount of burgers and cake in my whole life versus if I eat, even though I diet. I hope I'm not making light of this very serious topic too much. I guess it's just a matter of love, right? I think there's a lot of shame when it comes to our body image as well. But losing weight is not about shame. It's not about how you look. It's about how you feel. And that's something that other people cannot give you, right? People can comment on how you look and make you feel something, but that's temporary. And that's also like staked in a potential bias or a potential worry, you not believing them, etc., etc. However, how you feel always will always be how you feel, and that will always be your feelings, right? So changing that for the good will make you feel better overall, which is a big deal. And it's something that you do have power over, right? And in that way, like we're rebranding shame, bringing into our power, valuing ourselves more, valuing certain things, certain foods more than others, maybe as well, right? Recognizing the wholity, the wholeness of the certain foods that we can actually, bring into our diets. Hmm. Have you tried fasting? I have. I have tried fasting. I want to read the rest of your message. I typically eat once a day, usually around 5 p.m. Takes some getting used to, but feels amazing. I haven't eaten today. So I am technically on the same pattern. It is 20 minutes past 5 right now. So I do feel like I could eat, but I have been feeling called to fast a little bit longer as of late as well. The longest I've ever fasted was 2 weeks. I don't do that anymore. Now the longest I'll go is maybe between 5 and 7 days. That's where I feel the sweet spot is. Like the 2 week fast was fine, but it felt like at some point I was just looking for something, right? I was looking for enlightenment or whatever. And I realized, nah, bro, this ain't it. This is not the way. I wasn't really looking for enlightenment. I was writing my math exam. Literally, I was finishing my high school like final exams. And fasting does boost brain derived neurotrophic factor. So my brain was like, and growth hormone, which helps, for memories and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna fast and then write my tests. And it kind of worked. I didn't fail. Yay me. I fast daily. I eat at noon, and not after 8 p.m. if I can help it. That's perfect. Yeah. That way your body is also not fighting with all of the digestive, stuff as you're trying to sleep, making your sleep more regenerative too. This is so awesome to hear all of these things that you've incorporated. Enjoy. I love that we're discussing this, guys. Me too. Because it is something that is so like wrapped in shame, right? And some people get to this fractal we're in through shame. And maybe that's something to consider about shame as well. That it can technically be something that can be used. Dare forbid that we ever say so for good. And the perspective actively impedes permanent healthy change. Permanent healthy change only happens with small steps, right? And not everybody can just make change, right? Not everybody knows themselves that well, knows their environments well enough to just do that. So, a diet in that way is a sense of structure that helps someone just right now make some of those iterative changes, right? Take those small steps forward. And that can lead to the healthy change that is necessary, because once we start gaining momentum, we value that. Sun King, my body goes through weird periods where it seems to demand the OMAD structure. I think on some level it's biologically driven eating habits. Like our eating habits can be driven down to our like parental lines and stuff as well. There is a study that was conducted on women who had children during the Great Depression, right, when people were starving. And those women in pregnancy, in that state of starvation, technically, brought children into the world that were, one, more likely to develop diabetes, and two, more likely to be obese. Very interesting statistics, right? Like literally one generation, one mother having one baby during a very hard time, in our species, or at least in the Americas. And it literally changed those babies' DNA for them to be different down the line. That's a big deal, right? And in that way, I believe we're going to be given the keys to our DNA as well, and we will be able to switch things like that on and off instead of just being given this DNA and that just being how it is. Agreed, Sam. It is wholly natural environment. We wouldn't have 3 meals available all the time. Exactly. I love that we're discussing this, bless again. No one can make you feel something. True. I wish my family understood. Dad was PDA and shame system. I'm not sure. But definitely my feeling doesn't really evolve me. Uh, that's a hot take. Hot take, Hoopy. My feelings don't evolve me. Is that true? I can't say that it's not. I can say that it's not true. Who am I to say that that's not true? But it is an interesting take. Feelings. I think feelings give you a certain sense of direction. Even if that sense of direction is like a reorientation, right? You can feel something in this direction and then choose to go the other direction. Even if that direction you feel something towards in is attraction, like, I want to go there. And you can turn around and go the opposite way because of shame sometimes, because of wisdom other times too. Da, 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 da. A diet is something. Yeah, small steps. I do a lot. but it's all got to build. It all has to be built one step at a time. Yep. A diet is something that helps people take those steps forward. By sticking them in a rigid diet, they are shamed into adopting and staying in. The longer they stay in that unnatural pattern. So, Sam, I think something that also helps to consider while we're having this conversation, and I know it isn't exactly 100% applicable just yet and today, but the future we're heading into is going to be very automated as well. So, in that way, we will have the luxury of just having our foods pre portioned for us to the exact amount of calories we ought to be eating, right? So, there won't be any shame associated with that as a change. There won't be any unnatural patterns. It will just be a matter of adjusting, right, to a healthier way of living, a more sustainable way of living as well, right? If we reduce the amount of calories our planet consumes excessively, we have enough food to feed 2 billion extra people, right? Just that alone should be reason enough to want to make these changes. The more unstable the patterns become, leading to cheating and falling off the wagon. The approach I used to successfully shed weight after a lifetime of not being able to was asking myself, why am I craving this? And finding a better alternative, one that I love just as much. I don't cut out the foods that lead me to cheat, I make them better. And by not thinking of them as things I cannot or should not have, they are a daily part of my life and thus present no temptation. That couldn't work for me, Sam. I have tried. I've listened. We've had this conversation before, and I remember the previous time you shared that insight, and I have tried to apply it, and I have sat down with myself and I've asked myself, why do I crave these things and alternatives? It's just a matter of want in that moment, right? A certain sense of I know this thing is accessible, so I want it, right? For me, I don't like having that feeling, especially if it's something that I shouldn't be wanting, right? If I was I'm happy that I'm not, but if I was a cigarette smoker, right? Existing in that state where a cigarette is something that I wanted would cause me distress. The only reason that I tolerate weed is because it's nice, right? Smells beautiful. As a vapor, it tastes great. The effects is something that I can appreciate. Reduces the amount of shame I experience, right? We've established that as well. Of control, I think. Diet is control. You are trying to control the environment that you are battling against in this pursuit of becoming a more healthy individual. Some people do that by just not bringing those things in. Eating fast food and ultra processed food is the unnatural pattern. This is also true. And again, right, like that feels like one of those things that we might have like a lot of ego uh, resistance to accepting. But the fast foods that we have access to these days have been engineered, right? Like in the same way we can imagine these scientists and labs, right? Brewing things in beakers, putting things in ovens, having gloves, right? Like that kind of environment created the ultra processed foods that we now crave, right? And they have been created in those environments to make them highly palatable and highly desirable. And in that way, like they can never be, what's the word? They can never be a daily part of my life. Because it is one, a resource expenditure, right? And I feel like that's also something that, and we've talked about this before. Like I live in a very different socio-economic kind of like existence than you friends in America, right? So for me, like eating junk food is not only bad for me physically, but it's also bad for me financially, where I could potentially, eat KFC or McDonald's every day, but the amount of calories I would get would be exponentially less. And those calories would serve me exponentially less as well if I just spent that money buying whole foods, right? A proper protein source and vegetables. And that's where it comes down to, right? It's not a matter of shame, it's a matter of pride in how I am controlling, how I am practicing power over my environment, and how my life will get changed by that decision, those active choices. Those foods are created for profit. Yeah. The trade off is mass produce on the cheap and satisfying to the customer, but not too satisfying, right? Not too satisfying. Satisfying, but not too satisfying. Just satisfying enough to keep you unsatisfied. I want control. I shouldn't. No, I think you should. I think it's good to have some control over yourself and over your environment. But it should be something that you're doing with a sense of intention as well, right? And that intention should be anchored in love is true. Rule 34b in section, if it exists, humans will abuse it. It's true, but again, it's like alcohol, Sam. It's like making alcohol available and purchasable on every single street in every single town that we've ever lived within means that it's significantly easier for people to abuse things because they have such ready access to it. And it's the same with sugar. And it's again a matter of knowing what is good for us, right? Understanding that some behaviors will lead us to an early grave and some behaviors won't. And then as a collective standing up for ourselves, because there are some corporations that are literally making a buck of us dying in that way, right? And that's the hot take, I think, for me at least. Bro, fast food is no longer cheap. It's so expensive over here too. No, what I'm saying is relatively, Joy Vive, like fast food is something that might be still relatively more affordable to you. To give you an idea, if I go to KFC right now and I get myself like a bucket of chicken, that might be a lot. That would literally be 10% of all of the money I have right now. Right? Yeah. It's a little bit fucking absurd. So, in that way, it's very unreasonable. Relatively speaking, I could buy myself enough chicken breasts to last almost 3 weeks. If I spent it on actual raw ingredients instead of going to the KFC. So it is, like that's the thing. I think relatively, the fast food, and it is very expensive for you friends as well. That's true. It might just not be that big of a percentage of a cut. I'm one of those people who can't bring junk into the home, or it goes into my tum. Yeah, I've been eating so much candy thanks to Halloween. When I'm fasting or actively focusing on diet, that kinda helps. Nothing really helps as much as accountability buddy though. I feel that too, Joe. To resonate with you a little bit, Jovan, when she came through, she brought me a bunch of candy. Some of the candy was gifted by some of her friends and family as well on that side. And I had it in the house. And Jovan, I ate that candy almost like it was a job. I literally, there was like a tab open in my brain. I left it in the cooler box. I didn't take it out of the cooler box. I left it in there. I put it in a little what do you call it? Spence little closet. Technically, I put it in a closet. Close the closet door, right? And that tab would be open in my mind. I would knew that I know there was candy in there. And then when I felt like it, I would go and get myself some candy until there was no more candy left. There's none left, and I'm happy about that because again, it was this matter of I'm not going to stop. When it's in the house, it's going in my thumb. I feel you on that, Joe. Resonating so much with you on that. Hot take. I think a lack of discipline makes you ugly. It is a hot take, but I think it would be one, that you won't have people like gasping, like, oh, how could you say such a thing? I think it's grounded in reality, very much so, Joy. Makes sense what you're saying. Lack of discipline makes you ugly. There's a big perception thing there. Jovan, I have a GPT for that. The accountability buddy? Yeah. Oh my Sam, you've shown me a few tricks that blew my mind already. I'd love to see how you've weaponized ChatGPT. How flexible is your definition of discipline? Oh, I mean, like that's gonna be one of those it's a matter of perspective kind of things, I believe. I can't speak for Jovi, but discipline. Hey Google, define discipline. To me, before I read that, to me, discipline is the only way to freedom. Right? That as soon as you start practicing a discipline, you almost free yourself. It's like a taking control of your life in a way. Discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, usually punishment to correct disobedience, not the discipline we're talking about. Discipline, a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. Also, not what we're talking about. Yeah, how about that? Self discipline. There we go. The ability to control one's feelings and overcomes one's weaknesses. The ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite temptations to abandon it. Ooh, whoa, literally the example they gave goes, his observance of his diet was a show of tremendous willpower and self-discipline. Literally talks about diet. It is true though. It is true. Self-discipline. Something that you can keep growing at least. The two things that can't be faked is discipline and courage. Yo, there's a little ant on my toe. I'm sorry that I had to show you. Like I have my foot against the wall there, and then suddenly I just see this little ant summit my toe like a mountain. How courageous, that little disciplined ant. Part of me is almost like wanting to dissociate because that is very real. The thing you just said. You cannot fake discipline or courage. part of me would like to believe that I have been showing discipline and courage. I feel you friends being willing to affirm that in me as well. But again, it's almost like I have to not fake it harder to discipline courage more. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel you so much on that. Finances are tough here in the USA as well. Rent is insane. That's the biggest one that I cannot wrap my head around for you friends. Is the amount you're paying on rent. Groceries and utilities collectively take away from my earnings. You ever consider moving to South Africa? I know you're still new to our community. Sun King, I'm sorry for jumping the gun, but like it's been a running joke where I encourage the friends that tune into the stream to move to South Africa. If you can transfer your skills, if you're working online potentially, uh, you could live a very good life here in South Africa with your American salary. Discipline is freedom, the ultimate freedom, the ultimate freedom. Because you do not feel like discipline at that point, you know, becomes like something righteous. You feel like you're doing something right, right? And that's freeing. You don't feel like you're gonna be imprisoned in that way, right? So you're not imprisoning yourself. Okay, that ant is still exploring my foot. There he be. Little entity on planet Earth. There's me, and then there's Ant. Look at us. We're homies. We're the same. We're just out here doing things. This dude is really curious about my hand. I'm now realizing he has little bottom whiskers. I don't know if you'll be able to see those. He has the top whiskers, and then he has like a little set of whiskers at the bottom of his mouth. That he's, yeah, I think you can see that. How did I never notice that? Oh, because he can retract them. He's putting them down and retracting them. Neat. The difference between me and this little ant is that to me, he's something. To him, I am as much as this is, as much as the rocks and trees are, right? The scale that I exist at. And compared to him, like he has no inkling of me being anything other than environment. No shame. He has no shame walking all over me like this. Oh shit, now he's panicking. Yes, he's holding on though. Okay, that did it. Why are your ants prehistoric size? They are giant compared to ours. That's just one of our bigger ant species. We have even bigger ones. Like there's one that I wouldn't be as comfortable just picking up nilly-willy like that. I should show you what it looks like. Hey Google, show me the South African ant that has a brown abdomen and black spots. It's searching it on YouTube again. I'm search. No, this is not it. But this ant, will I be able to find a photo? How long will it take me? Hmm. I'm not getting rocky, but this ant is like 4 times the size of the one I just held. Like literally an ant this big. It's like enormous. And you'll see them in different sizes. And I don't know if they eat and grow, but they're like these single roamer. Oh, it's almost like this. They're like these single roamer ants. You'll just see one of them walking around. You'll never see a bunch of them. They almost look like this, but this one is a smaller species. Nope. This one is a smaller species. Almost like that. I just need to find a big one of these. Going down the ant rabbit hole. I'm sorry. This is what I found it. No, I think it might be that same one we just saw. It's so similar, but this one is small. I can tell. I guess you friends won't be able to tell because it's proportional. Maybe I should add fluffy. It's kind of fluffy. Oh, no. Why is it so hard to find ant? Maybe. Maybe I ask a language model. I'm looking for a specific ant species. I live in South Africa, and there is this type of ant that has like a fluffy kind of brown backside with these little black spots. It's very big. Do you know what the name of this ant is? You see, some people go like, "Oh, yeah, there's more energy usage in using language models." I spend so much time looking for things if I don't use a language model. No, 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 no. Is this the right one? Ants of Cape Town. I don't think so. That does not look like the right ant to me. These ones are really big. Uh, 20 millimeters in length. It's almost too small. The spots are very similar as well from ant to ant. And they're usually like single roaming. Like you won't see a lot of them. You'll just see like one of them randomly. Why is it so hard to find a photo of this ant? Oh, bruh. More struggle. Not even the language model is helping me. I don't want to let go of this. My tisms is like, nay. It's kind of like this one, but it's not this one. It's similarly sized. So I'll show you what this one looks like. It might be a type of wasp. Maybe. But it's maybe a wingless wasp. I don't know. It looks like an ant is the thing. Yeah, like this. That's one of it. So imagine this backside is brown. This head is completely black. And then this one is like a brown fluffiness. And then there's black spots. But it would be that size. You know, like literally going all the way over your finger. Enormous. So much struggle to try and find this, and I still don't want to give up. I want to show you the actual one. Why am I like this? Like, please. Is it my tism? Why does it not want to let go? Shame? No, surely not. It doesn't want to stop. It doesn't want to stop. It's like, nay. Maybe we can have some fun with this, actually. I can show you these things. Show you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a bunch of different ant species, seeing if I can find the one. These are the African ants. Some of those ants. And some of those ants. Some of these ants. Some of them ants. I'll try and stop on the ant that I was just holding on stream as well. It's not one of those. It's not one of these. It's not one of them. It's not one of those. That one kind of looks, yeah, that's the spottiness, but it's not one of them either. It's not one of these. This one is kind of close to the one we just held. That one is kind of too. This one maybe as well. Yeah, those are the guys. And those are the ones we just had. Those are the ones we had on our hands. There's many of them that look very similar. Look at that big head. Yo. Super big headed antlers. Yay! 3 millimeters. That's so smart. Yeah, that's all of these in this paper. But the ant I was looking for wasn't there. If I ever see it, and I probably will see more of them when I go back home, because there's always one of them back home. I've seen so many of them there specifically. I'll show you. I'll make a point of it. I'll be like, remember that one time? Remember that one time I told you about that ant? I found it. This is what it looked like. Okay, I'm gonna open this. Maybe do like a little bit of a speed runish, so I can catch up with you friends. Sun King, I see you blaming your cost of living for your poverty, and not the aristocratic class of pirates that reinforce the conditions to create your cost of living. Is there a reason? That's a good question. We're encouraging you to become radicalized. This is what's happening. Why are your ants prehistoric size less? Comedian on New Generations and Economy. Little kids don't even play house anymore. They play apartment. I saw 4 kids standing around a trash can asking about sharing streaming services and affirmations. that is funny. Oh, thank you for echoing that, Joe. Cradle of Life buff Joy. Creatures born on the African continent have a sizing buff. It's true. It's true. It is actually true. We're very lucky. I am going to now pull a card, and we're going to see what it means. And then we'll say goodbye for today. And we'll show up again tomorrow. Right, friends? We have been doing so beautifully consecutively for a long time. This one. Get grounded. Empaths. Highly sensitives. Connect with nature. Are you connecting with nature enough? I am connecting. Download received. Mother Nature told me that everything's gonna be okay. That we are not to blame, as Sam beautifully said, that the average billionaire emits more CO2 in 30 minutes than you will in your entire lifetime. All right. So get grounded, yo. Get grounded. Take a breath. You do not deserve to feel ashamed. for existing. All right. Okay. All right. This. Get grounded. You want to see it one more time? I'll show you one more time, and then I'm putting it away. You are being called to read comments first. I think I need to go to all messages. Yeah, I think I was missing a bunch. Speaking of discipline, I'm gonna miss yoga tomorrow. Concert tonight. Nice. Enjoy. Enjoy, Viv. Have fun. Thanks for the tip. Thank you for showing up, bro. I have you on the TV right now. Your hair is looking fabulous, and the lighting is making you fabulously pretty right now. Oh, that's nice. It is like golden hour right now, but it is gonna keep going away. So I need to wrap this up. Otherwise, I'll stop being hot. King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard. Nice! Their psychedelic rock band. The name of the band is a reason enough to venture out into the world to spectate. Hey, like what's happening there? Tell me. Wingless Wasp. What in the hell now? Bless. Yeah, they're a psychedelic band from Australia. I think I've heard that name before. Uh, Venture out. Indeed, I shall venture forth into the shining future city that is San Francisco. Nice. Go and explore. Have some fun. Indeed. I really deeply shit, but some folks like it. It's really deeply shit, but some folks like it. It's absurdity. It's everybody wants a spectacle these days. All right. That's awesome, Joy. I saw Blackberry Smoke Friday in Vegas and Saturday in California. You see. You traveled with them? That's super cool. All right, I'm gonna read to you now. Get grounded, it says. And then it goes, you are being called to get grounded to ensure that your luminous field is clear and your inner well is full. If you're not grounded, it is up, and other people take it for your own. Your boundaries will become blurred as you are absorbing the energies around you and struggling to define what is theirs and what is yours. If you pull this card, you are very likely an empath or a highly sensitive person and need time alone to fill up your well, balance your energy, and get grounded. There are two types of people: those who draw their energy from others and those who draw their energy from within. Reflect on which one you are and carve out time each day to ensure your well being is being replenished. Your well is being replenished. Being sensitive is a superpower, but like all powers, it needs to be nurtured in order to be fulfilled. It is easy to get swept up in high frequency energies that are swirling around the planet. The quickest and most effective way of clearing all this from your field is to ground yourself by connecting with Mother Earth. There are many ways to do so. One of the most powerful ones is to practice earthing by connecting to the power of Mother Earth. Spend time in nature. Put your hands on a tree, for your palms are extensions of your heart chakras. Go walking bare feet on the earth. I'm just touching. Me just touch. I'm touch earth. I'm feel rock. Me find rock. Me find pole. Me put rock. The internet has changed us. The AI music. Oh, I got some dust in my eyeballs pulling that maneuver. I shouldn't have touched those rocks. So I'm really getting grounded into the fact that I'm a person right now. You'll see. That's awesome. Dope, Kristen. I don't know them. Should I? Blackberry Smoke. Cool name though. Cool name. Oh, all right. I'm happy that we showed up together again. They're a kind of southern rock, so probably not, but I love them to pieces, and that's literally all that matters. I love you to pieces, dear friends. All of you make me so happy. It is a pleasure showing up to spend time with you. See you again soon. Hope you have the most radiant day, everyone. I wholeheartedly love you all so ardently, evanescently, marvelously, luminously, and tenderly, spiritedly, exuberantly, beamingly, piercingly, enchantingly melt. And all of you, oh so magnanimous and altruistic, benevolent and heartwarming, gorgeous, supportive, devoted, genial, empathetic, and soulful friends who shamelessly self it out. I love you too, pieces. I love you too, you pieces of beautiful humanimals in the world right now. Blackberry Smoke sounds like the name of a phone from an old vintage brand looking to make a new splash on the smartphone market. It's like, yeah, bro, it's like Blackberry but smoke. Oh, it's like cool. Oh, it's like tech. It's like vaporware. You know, people are making billions selling vaporware. So we thought we would make smoke and then like get a slice of that pie. I love you, friends. We did say goodbye. Thank you for joining me, for sharing a moment. I'll see you again soon. Well, I don't know why I'm doing this. Yes, I am, in fact, Illuminati. Conspiracy theories commence. Why am I giving the person that wants to find something like that evidence? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look away. Look, stop doing this. I love you, friends. Goodbye.